Hello everyone and welcome to B-Film Invasion. I'm Kelton, your host, and in this episode we're going to watch a science fiction crime film from 1956 featuring a horror legend. It's Indestructible Man. But not the Indestructible Man. Is there more than one? It was written by Vi Russell and Sue Dwiggins, credited as Sue Bradford. It was produced and directed by prolific B-movie producer Jack Pollock-Sven, and it stars Lon Chaney Jr. of Universal Horror Cycle fame. Indestructible Man is about Butcher Benton, a robber and murderer who is double-crossed by his lawyer and his accomplices and sentenced to the gas chamber. Benton's body is then sold to a scientist who is on the verge of discovering a cure for cancer. He subjects Benton's body to strange experiments involving chemical injections and exposure to high voltage, but rather than finding the cure, he succeeds in bringing Benton back to life. Not only that, but Benton's cellular division is accelerated exponentially, making him completely invulnerable and giving him superhuman strength. But they don't call him the Butcher for nothing, and rather than using his great power responsibly, Benton decides to get revenge on the dirty rats that sent him up the river. See? So without further ado, sit back, grab your popcorn, turn down the lights, and enjoy Indestructible Man.
Dictating the wrap-up on the Butcher Benton package. I'm Lieutenant Dick Chasen. This hadn't been a routine case, and to find the answer, I've had to put a lot of little pieces together. It began on the day most cases can be called closed. It was the day before the Butcher was to be executed. He was visited by his attorney, Paul Lowe, in the death house. It was at this first meeting the Butcher Benton case took its first switch.
Well, that's it, Butcher. The evidence against you was so strong, the governor turned down your appeal.
You're a rotten liar, Lowe. You started railroading me from the beginning of the trial. And now you're still trying to throw me curves.
Look, I don't blame you for being edgy, but get this straight. I didn't double-cross you. I never worked harder for a client.
You mean you never worked harder for a client to get him sentenced?
You were a fool, Butcher. If you hadn't tried to double-cross Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli, they wouldn't have turned state's evidence against you. But you had to get greedy. You wanted to keep the whole $600,000 for yourself. Well, the boys got sore, and I don't blame them.
It was all your idea. You planned the whole job. You hired us. When you found out I'd staged the money, you decided it was time for me to die. You got those two crumbs to turn state's evidence on me. You stinking rotten mouthpiece.
We both know that isn't true, Butcher. Now, look, what's the sense in not giving me the money? It's not going to do you any good.
Well, I'll have the satisfaction of knowing that none of you three crumbs are going to spend it.
What about Eva? Don't you owe her something? You tell me where the money is, I'll see that she gets your share.
I've got a different idea. I'm going to kill you and Squeamy and Joe. Then I'll take care of Eva myself.
You thick-headed ape, you're gonna die tomorrow.
Remember what I said. I'm gonna get you, All three of you.
Even for you, Butcher, that'd be quite a trick. So long, dead man.
Remember what I said. I'm gonna kill you. All three of you.
Back in Los Angeles, two men sat in a bar room listening to a newscaster tell his headline story. He played up big the Butcher's threat to kill Paul Lowe, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Marcelli for their having turned state's evidence against him. Squeamy Ellis didn't seem happy over the Butcher's threat. Neither did Joe Marcelli. But they had figured, once a dead man, always a dead man. But this was one time everyone was in for a surprise, including the entire police department. You seen the headlines, Captain?
Teletype just came in from San Francisco. Butcher's execution is set for 5 o'clock this afternoon. And like the newspapers say, he still refuses to talk about that stolen money.
Well, I still have hopes of coming up with something.
That's what I dropped by for, Dick. With Butcher's execution, the department's marking it case closed. That means you'll be reassigned.
I've spent a whole year trying to break this case. As far as I'm concerned, Butcher's death is just the beginning. Of course, I can't prove it, but I think that Paul Lowe was the top man. And even though I have to keep working on it while off duty, I'm going to get Lowe, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Marcelli.
Okay, Lieutenant. Officially, I've taken you off of the case. Unofficially, I wish you luck. Do me a favor. Keep me posted.
Will do. Thanks, John. I headed for Eva Martin. She worked in a local burlesque house. I'm a cop, and my job is to ask questions and get answers. So I decided I might as well start again with her.
Come in. Oh. What do you want?
I'd like to talk to you.
Talk? You're a cop, aren't you?
That's a good question. I can't even find a 3-ton armored car, let alone the $600,000, and I've been on the case a year.
I've told you, and I've told you, and I've told you. I don't know anything about the money. I never did.
Benton's gonna be dead in a little while. I thought it might make a difference.
I never knew anything about the money. Call me dumb. I didn't even know Charles was in the rackets until the trial.
Now, take it easy, kid.
You're on, Eva.
Honey, here's your wrap.
A few moments ago, Butcher Benton, without revealing the whereabouts of the $600,000 stolen in the armored car holdup, paid for his crimes against society in the gas chamber at San Quentin. Now for a look at the international scene. Today...
Come on, baby. Don't waste tears on Benton.
I feel so badly about Charles. If I'd known, maybe I could have done something.
How about a drink? We could both use one.
An artist can't drink while she's working, Paul.
Oh, I see. What's that? Well, now what's the matter?
It's a message from Charles. He told me to open it if he died.
Finale, Eva.
All right.
How about a steak after the show?
No, thanks. Not tonight, Paul.
I didn't find out until much later, but Paul Lowe, in opening the letter the butcher had given Eva, found a map outlining a section of the city sewer system, and clearly identified was the spot where the butcher had hidden the stolen payroll. He replaced it with a $50 bill. I guess he figured $50 to gain $600,000 was not a bad day's work. And a few hundred miles away in San Francisco, the case took another switch, which turned the next 72 hours into one long, hideous nightmare. Dr. Bradshaw, a distinguished biochemist, was making preparations for a final experiment which he hoped would lead the way to a cure for cancer. He'd been successful with laboratory animals. The last step called for a human body. And Dr. Bradshaw's assistant quickly made a deal with a local mortuary and returned to the laboratory with the dead body of Butcher Benton.
You made good time.
Well, I didn't waste any.
Any trouble?
No, I just handed the money over and moved the body into your station wagon. That was that.
Good. Get a syringe. He's in good shape.
Well, I hope so.
We'll get other blood samples later. We'll run this one through fast.
Right.
Now wheel him into the machine and then raise him.
Right.
Ready?
You mean you're going to give him 287,000 volts?
Yes, yes. I'll get the fluoroscope set. We'll check with that before we start dissecting. Turn off the lights. There you are, old boy. If you respond properly and my theory is sound, you'll be more famous dead than alive. Throw the switch.
Wait, I thought I saw a pulsation of the heart.
You're right.
Dr. Bradshaw is beginning to breathe. You've brought this man back to life.
No. The heart muscle has simply responded to a terrific electrical shock, that's all. Yes, but it does prove that the cells still function.
Dr. Bradshaw, he is alive.
A shock reaction, it can't last.
His cells are multiplying now, if your theory is right.
We could keep that reaction going longer. But it's worth a try. Get the body out.
Detective Dick Chasen, huh? That's original. Calling Dick Chasen, calling Dick Chasen. If I didn't know this were a sci-fi movie, I'd swear this were some cheesy film noir. What with all that hard-boiled narration and dialogue in the first 10 minutes?
I'm a cop, and my job is to ask questions and get answers.
Talk? You're a cop, aren't you?
I guess he figured $50 to gain $600,000 was not a bad day's work.
You stinking rotten mouthpiece.
Speaking of dialogue, that little bit of tough talk in the cell is all we hear from our star in this movie. Going forward, his performance is given through pure action and close-ups, not unlike his father, Lon Chaney Sr., but more about Lon Chaney Jr. later. A lot of cues in the beginning of the movie were borrowed from the popular TV police drama Dragnet, but the plot of Indestructible Man is reminiscent of stories found in early horror comics, which were all but extinct by the mid-50s. Horror comics had their roots in crime comics of the 1930s and 40s, which featured stories tinged with the macabre. After World War II, the popularity of horror in comics exploded with younger readers, and many publishers joined the trend, led by EC Comics with titles such as The Crypt of Terror, which was later renamed Tales from the Crypt. This all came to a screeching halt when two self-appointed moral crusaders, Dr. Frederick Wertham and Senator Estes Kefauver, began stirring up a panic, claiming without evidence that comic books fostered delinquency and sexual deviance in young people. In 1954, Kefauver led a Senate subcommittee on juvenile delinquency and brought in Wertham to testify on Capitol Hill, and despite thoughtful counter-testimony given by EC Comics publisher William Gaines, who cited post-war anxieties and lack of parental responsibility as the actual causes of delinquency, the subcommittee recommended that comics tone down their content, even though their final report didn't even conclude that comics were to blame for juvenile delinquency. Later that year, the Comics Code Authority was established, and their rules against depictions of violence and death in comics led to the end of horror in the medium. EC Publishing continued on, however, by shifting their focus from horror to satire. To skirt the CCA, they labeled their new title a magazine rather than a comic book, and thus Mad Magazine was born, giving teachers and parents a new scapegoat for generations to come. Horror comics had a bit of a resurgence in the late 1960s, alongside counterculture publications like Zap Comics, and of course their legacy lives on in films like Creepshow, and in the 1990s homage to the heyday of EC Comics, HBO's Tales from the Crypt. How was that for a tangent? So, Dr. Bradshaw has just made a major breakthrough, although not quite the one he expected. We'll see what fresh hell the Doctor's about to unleash when we return to Indestructible Man, right after this.
Get some adrenaline from the supply room. Some amyl nitrite, too. Hurry, hurry! Your heart can't stand the strain. Now you must lie still. Please, please. Easy now. Easy. Easy. You must lie. Easy. Please.
Dr. Bradshaw's experiment had given life back to the butcher. He tried to talk, but the electrical voltage had burned out his vocal cords. Yet it hadn't destroyed his brain. He knew who he was. He knew who he hated. As he stumbled about the room, I think he thought only about one: kill Lowe, Squeamy, and Joe Marcelli. The tremendous electrical voltage that Dr. Bradshaw had given the butcher had increased his cellular structure to the point where he was no longer a man. Dr. Bradshaw's experiment had created a vicious, brutal animal with an almost inconceivable amount of strength. Dr. Bradshaw must have believed the butcher's regained life would last for only a few minutes. Therefore, instead of calling for help, the doctor decided to handle his creation alone.
Now, easy, Benton. Just relax. I'm a doctor. I want to try to help you. Do you understand me? You're in my laboratory. The execution was carried out and you were declared dead. I tried an experiment on you and brought you back to life, although I didn't intend that. Now, you've had a great shock. Now come and sit down. Now, be quiet. Now, come and sit down. Take it easy. That's the boy. Careful. His reactions are violent.
How do you explain this?
Each cell must have multiplied 100 times, perhaps thousands. His strength is unbelievable. No. It's too late for the amyl nitrite. I want to get some blood samples, make some tests on him, find out what's happened. Get me a syringe.
Why won't the needle penetrate the skin?
Tissue must be nearly a solid mass of cells.
How are we going to get the blood sample?
Surgically, perhaps. Now, easy, Benton. Take it easy. You can't leave here now. I'm responsible for your being alive.
Towards the end of this case, Captain Lauder and I found out the doctor and his assistant had been murdered. But I'm getting ahead of my story. The butcher didn't know how he had been brought back from the dead, and he didn't care. All he knew, he was alive. Then this monster-made man started thinking about Los Angeles. On that very night back in Los Angeles, I decided to stop playing detective for a little while. I went to the burlesque house to ask Eva to have dinner with me. After all, the butcher was dead, and if I got lucky, sooner or later, I figured Paul Lowe would lead me to the stolen payroll. In a way, that possibility made me even feel better.
It's not fair to watch the show from backstage.
Next time, I'll pay admission.
I take it by that remark you like my routine.
Yeah, you're pretty good. What I can't figure out, though, is why you stay in a place like this. It shouldn't be hard for someone like you to get a job in a class spot.
If you weren't a detective, I'd be willing to bet with a line like that your next remark would be, how about dinner?
Well, not exactly dinner, but a hamburger might be a good idea.
If you're asking in an official capacity, I can't say no.
I'm off duty.
For the past 6 months, all I've ever called you is Lieutenant Chasen. Do you have a first name?
Dick.
Give me 10 minutes for a quick change, because you just made yourself a date, Lieutenant. I mean, Dick. You know something, Dick? I haven't had hamburger in the front seat of an automobile with a guy in a lot of years.
Well, from now on, we'll do it more often.
It's funny. I always figured a policeman wasn't really a human being. I mean, unless he was arresting someone or trying to solve a case, he was unhappy.
Shows you how wrong you are. In fact, everyone on the force gets fed up occasionally with the job they do. Maybe we're more human than anyone else. We see so much trouble, we get to hate the word. But as long as the world's filled with people, there'll have to be men who enforce the laws.
What made you join the department?
Now who's making with the questions?
No, honest, I'd like to know.
Well, it's really a very short story. When I got out of the Air Corps, I knocked around for a while. Well, I went to work for an oil company. One day, I went back to college on the GI Bill. Just before graduation, I noticed all about the police department exams. It seemed a pretty good thing to do with your life, so I took the exams, passed, then went on from there.
If I ask one more question, will you give me a straight answer?
Try me.
Am I still part of the Charles Benton investigation? I mean, right now.
I don't think so. As far as the department's concerned, when Benton was executed, the case was marked closed. But inside of me, that's not good enough.
I don't follow you.
Well, the $600,000 is still missing. And a fast-talking underworld lawyer like Paul Lowe is walking around a free man. Someday, no matter how long it takes, I'll get him and the money. Until I do, the Benton case for me is not closed.
I give you my word, Dick. Charles Benton never told me anything about the money.
Oh, I've been sure of that for a long time. But how did you ever get mixed up with anyone like the Butcher?
As trouble ever started, just happened. I had a roommate who used to date Benton all the time. One day she packed and left for Chicago. Benton carried a torch for her, and he used my shoulder to cry on. First thing I knew, we were having dinner together, and a few weeks later, I was labeled by the police as this #1 suspect and Benton's girl, but it was never like that. I made only one mistake. I felt sorry for him.
You mean, until he was arrested for the robbery and the killing, you had no idea how he earned a living?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I only went out with Benton a couple of times, and all we ever talked about was Madge, my old roommate. The last time I saw him, he tried to get too friendly, and that's when I told him he had the wrong girl. But like I said, I'd already made my mistake.
What about the burlesque house? How do you two fit together?
You sound like a lot of other people. I left a small town a couple of years ago because I won a beauty contest, and the first prize was a screen test. Da, 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 da.
After which, nothing happened?
That's right. Only, it was pretty rough. And then one day I read an ad about girls wanted for a burlesque show. I auditioned and I got the job. You know something? It's like any other job. If you're looking for trouble, you can find it even in a schoolroom.
Well, when the screen test didn't work out, though, why didn't you go on home?
Well, first you have to have a home to go back to. My folks are dead, so Los Angeles was as good as any place else. I don't know about you, but I do 8 shows a day, and at this hour I'm bushed.
I know what you mean. Mind if I drive you home?
No. And I'll tell you something else. I haven't minded anything about tonight. Not even the hamburger.
I kept playing tag with Lowe. He made 4 telephone calls. 3 of them didn't interest me, but one did. The one to Joe Marcelli. I watched Joe head for his meeting with Lowe, and for some unknown reason, I began to get the feeling that this case was finally about to explode in my favor.
You see what I mean? Well, look at that, will you? I seen him stagger on 2 legs, but he's doing it on 4.
Shut up, you flea bag.
Well, look who's calling names. At least I ain't a squealer, a stoolie.
I warned you before.
All right, Harry, that's enough. I'll take care of him. I want to talk to him.
Okay, Mr. Lowe. But any future business you've got with this psycho, take care of it upstairs in your office. If he keeps showing around here, sooner or later he's going to get slugged, cripple or no cripple.
All right, shut up, Joe. Sit down.
I need a shot, bad.
You'll Go get one, after I've talked to you. You sober enough to understand?
Yeah, I run out of dough.
No wonder. Look at you. You used to be the best torch man in town. Now I don't think you could crack a safe if you knew the combination.
No jobs. Nobody wants me since I turned stakes on Benton. That's your doing. You told me.
All right, quit crying. I got a job for you. If you can stay off that stuff long enough.
You know I can if I've got a job. How much? What is it?
There's $2,000 in it for you.
Where?
Right near where he pulled the job. Interested?
$2,000 ain't much out of 600,000.
There'll be other expenses. Besides, that money's plenty of. Now, you want it or do I get another boy?
I'll do it. How soon do you want me to go to work?
Set it up for tomorrow night. Call me before noon. I'm going to the races. 1. And that's all. The job's over.
That scene in the car was rough. I need to pick me up. Where's my bonus cup? Come to Kelton. Much better. So Eva hasn't minded anything about the evening, huh? Wow, you're a real Romeo, Dick. Also, isn't it a tad bit unethical to go on a date with someone you're investigating? Oh, that's right. The case is officially closed and you're off duty. Whatever, let's talk about what we're really here for. Dr. Bradshaw and his assistant have brought Benton back to life, and even though he can no longer speak because the massive electric shock has damaged his vocal cords, he has superhuman strength and is completely resistant to any harm. And the Butcher expresses his thanks by strangling them. Ingrate. He's like a comic book supervillain. He gets his powers through a freak accident, and now he's an unstoppable killing machine, driven by vengeance. You know, it just occurred to me, if his cell division rate has grown so exponentially, shouldn't that also help to heal his vocal cords so he can talk? Kind of like how Deadpool can regenerate lost or damaged tissue, but the scars that cover his entire body can never heal? Don't think about that, move past it. The experiment that made him indestructible must have also done something to his face to cause his eyes to squint and quiver every time he focuses on something. So anyway, Butcher Benton is on his way back to Los Angeles to get his revenge. And the crooked lawyer Lowe, unaware that Benton is back from the dead, taps Joe Marcelli to find the missing $600,000, offering him a paltry $2,000 for the job. It's too bad Butcher didn't also gain the ability to fly. He'd be back in LA in no time. But perhaps it's better that he can't also fly. After all, there's only so much disbelief we can suspend here. All the pieces are now in motion, so let us return to Indestructible Man right after this.
Butcher was walking slowly toward Los Angeles. He'd traveled through wooded hills to prevent being seen by anyone. Finally, he came to a quiet road. He stopped to get his bearings. And then he saw her. He saw something else. An automobile. For the Butcher, that rang a bell. With a car, he knew by the next afternoon he'd be in Los Angeles in plenty of time to catch up with the 3 men who had double-crossed him.
Well, see, you're a real gentleman to be helping strangers in distress. I hope you don't mind me using the babe here as bait. Quite a dish, isn't she? But that's what she gets paid for. Bait, that is. Yes, sir. She's a real shaker artist of my outfit. Carnival man myself. Just call me Connie. Yeah. Well, friend, we're in a little bit of difficulty here. Got a flat tire, brand new car, no tools in the back. Why, some of these dealers make my carnival grifters look like babes in the woods. Holy. Say, who you with, friend? Let it down. Let it down. No matter who you with, friend, believe me, I can do better for both of us. I'll make a fortune for the both of us. Oh!
An hour later, the San Francisco Police Department sent out an APB. Squads were sent to various parts of the countryside. Roadblocks were thrown up to catch the cold-blooded killer the hysterical girl had described. Each squad kept reporting back to central headquarters, and each of their stories was the same. So far, none of them had spotted the car the killer was driving. Orders were given to shoot to kill, because from the girls' further accounts, they realized they were dealing with a maniac.
I trust that this information will answer all of your questions. If I can be of any further service, let me know. Sincerely, J.I. Louder, Captain Police, L.A.
Here's another all points from CHP, Captain.
These reports sound like they come from a bunch of loonies.
You sure do. There it is.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
I want Lieutenant Chasen to look these over as soon as he comes in.
All right, Captain.
The next morning, I read the stories of the brutal murder of the two police officers. I also read the witness's statement about the bullets having no effect upon the killer. I felt sorry for the witness, and I thought about how easily a person's mind can become confused when suddenly they receive a brutal shock. I didn't believe a man existed who could not be stopped by a slug from a .45. Good morning, Captain.
You and the rest of the force are going on 24-hour duty. Seen the headlines?
You mean this guy that's running amok up north?
Yeah, the latest report, he's killed 2 police officers. Made a getaway in a green coupe heading south. I've got a hunch this killer's gonna be our baby. He could be in town right now.
Yeah.
You better get started, Lieutenant.
Okay.
Any new leads on that hold-up money?
I think the girl can probably be counted out. If any of the others are wise, they're keeping mighty quiet.
Well, let it ride for now. The whole force is gonna be on the spot until we catch this killer. Newspapers will have a field day.
We were wrong about 2 things. The killer was already in our city, and we didn't know he was Butcher Benton. He headed straight for Eva Martin. He went to her dressing room to get back the map he had left in the envelope with her. He wanted first to check his money, then catch up with Lowe and the others.
Can't be. But you do look like him. Only different somehow. It is you. Why didn't somebody tell me? What's happened, Charles? Those look like bullet holes. Are they? There isn't even a mark. I opened it like you told me, and I found the $50. I didn't know why you left him. Oh, Paul didn't know why he was here. Don't think crazy.
The name of Paul triggered his hate. He left her dressing room and started for Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli's place. Because he knew, with them out of the way, Paul Lowe couldn't open the strong box where the money was hidden. He thought of Squeamy and Joe first. He was saving Paul Lowe for last.
Hey, Eva, can I borrow your eyebrow pencil? Operator, get me police headquarters. Lieutenant Chasen, please. When do you expect him? Well, tell him Charles Benton is alive, and even bullets can't stop him. I'm not crazy. Just say a friend of Charles. He'll know.
After leaving a message for me, Eva telephoned Squeamy Ellis. She tried to tell him the butcher was alive and on his way over to kill him. Squeamy didn't believe her, and in a way you couldn't blame him. Who in their right mind would believe a man had returned from the dead? What Squeamy actually believed was that the butcher, before his execution, had hired a killer to carry out his threat.
You sick? What? You don't look so good to me.
10 minutes, Eva.
All right. Say, Eva, I could take over the matinee trick for you. What? It's easy. Look, Eva, I can do it. Scub-up-de-doo-doo-doo. Oh, Francine, I just thought of something. Yeah?
Eva agreed to let Francine do the show. She hoped she'd be able to interrupt the butcher before he arrived at Squeamy's hotel. Or, failing that, at least be able to warn him to stay out of sight.
You wanted me, Captain?
Yeah, I just had a rundown on those fingerprints, the stolen car up north. We got nothing on the driver who was killed or the woman with him. Take a good look at these.
There's something funny about these.
Yeah. The boys in the lab can't figure it out either. Those are the killers. They were found on the steering wheel. Looked like they'd been stamped in with a steel die.
They sure do.
These are Butcher Benton's.
What? Well, they look the same to me. How do the lab boys explain that?
They don't. Their best guess is a twin brother. An identical twin could have the same pattern of whorls with only slight variations. Ever hear of the butcher having a twin brother?
No.
Even if he did, it wouldn't explain these freak prints.
You didn't pick up your message, Lieutenant. Some wacky dame calls you. And she says Charles Benton is alive, and bullets won't stop him.
If we buy the twin theory.
Who was she? Where'd she see him?
Well, she wouldn't leave her name. Sounded kind of hysterical to me. Said she was a friend of the butcher's.
Eva Martin.
Get over to the Follies and see what that girl knows.
Yeah.
Some guys have all the luck. I never drew an assignment to the Follies.
So, Butcher Benton is back, and he's pissed. Having stolen a car and killed 2 cops at a roadblock, he reaches LA and learns from Eva that his former lawyer knows where he stashed the money, and now he's after Lowe and his 2 henchmen to make them pay the ultimate price for crossing him. Our titular villain was played by Lon Chaney Jr., son of screen legend Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. He was born Creighton Tull Chaney in Oklahoma City in 1906, and he lived in several different boarding schools for the first 10 years of his life, while his father toured the country as a stage actor. When his father permanently relocated to Hollywood in 1916, Chaney came back to live with him. Chaney Sr. discouraged his son from following in his footsteps, and for many years Chaney Jr. worked as a plumber and found success working in a home appliance company. After his father's untimely death in 1930, Chaney decided to go into show business himself and appeared in dozens of films under his own name throughout the early 30s. Later, he began using the screen name Lon Chaney Jr. and worked as a contract player for Fox Films, before being cast as the Wolfman for Universal Pictures in 1941. Universal capitalized on Chaney's name by dropping Jr. from his billing, and the Wolfman was a huge success for the studio. Chaney went on to star in several more movies in the Universal horror cycle, such as The Ghost of Frankenstein, The Mummy's Tomb, Son of Dracula, and the first in the Monster Rally series, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, opposite Bela Lugosi as Frankenstein's monster, further cementing Chaney's status as a horror icon in his own right. Despite being typecast by the 1950s, Chaney worked in supporting roles in several genres, ranging from westerns to comedy. He retired from acting in 1971 due to his declining health, and began working on a book about the Chaney family legacy, which unfortunately has yet to be published. In 1973, Lon Chaney Jr. passed away at the age of 67, and as of 2008, his grandson Ron Chaney was reported to still be working on the book, titled A Century of Cheneys. And so the net draws ever tighter, despite not much actually having happened yet. But the Butcher is about to live up to his name once again, so stay tuned. After this break, we will return to Indestructible Man.
Meanwhile, the Butcher headed for Squeamy's hotel. He didn't seem to be in any particular hurry. Actually, he seemed like any normal person, on his way to work or on his way home. He rode up Angel's Flight, arrived at the top, scanned the hotel building, and then noticed the only exit from Squeamy's apartment, a fire escape. Butcher was figuring his next step. And as he looked at the dead cop, he thought about Paul Lowe, the next man on his list.
Seen Joe Marcelli?
Not since last night when I told him I didn't want him around here no more.
Give me a shot. Look, I need help. Just found out that Benton's hired a killer to get me. He's after Joe, too.
Then drink up and get out. I don't want no trouble around my place.
You're a real pal.
Drink up and get out, I said.
Operator, get me the police! Police! Yes!
What's happened?
A guy named Squeamy got thrown from the 5th floor. He's deader than a mackerel. Customer of mine.
You mean Squeamy Ellis?
Yeah, that's it.
Just Squeamy. No one else was killed.
Ain't one enough?
I tell you, the bullets never even phased him. He must have been wearing a bulletproof vest.
God help us when the papers get a hold of this. Keep an officer on duty here till you hear from me. We'll get a stakeout on Joe Marcelli.
I'd like to talk to Joe. Lauder, I'm going to call San Quentin. Suppose Benton is alive.
Every available man's been put on the case now. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Anything new?
Report on Dr. Bradshaw, owner of the station wagon.
The San Francisco police located his laboratory in the basement of an electrical power receiving station.
Bradshaw, what's he know?
He's dead. And another man, too, his assistant. The lab is a shambles. But now we're getting some action from San Francisco. Benton's body never arrived at the mortuary where it was supposed to go. An attendant there finally broke down, admitted he picked up some quick cash by handing the body over to a man he was unable to identify. The man was driving a station wagon.
Blast it, man. The chief's on my neck, and the commissioners are on his, and the mayor's on theirs. Now, am I supposed to tell him that our killer is a dead man?
They found a notebook in Bradshaw's lab. It ties his experiments in with a Professor Dwiggins at Caltech. I hope to hear from Dwiggins soon.
Captain, report from the valley on a hysterical woman. Reports the presence of the killer. There's the location.
Let's go.
You and your boyfriend had a little fight, and he got out of the car to take a walk. You noticed that he walked down toward the sump area in the direction where you'd seen those lights a short while before.
What happened then, miss? Please try to tell us.
Well, I just sat there a few minutes, I guess. I was pretty mad. Then there was a loud crash, like heavy metal, sort of, from down here. I got out of the car to get a better look. I heard Jimmy cry out something. I couldn't make out the words. Then down here, in a patch of light, was Jimmy. And coming toward him was this man. Big man. Lifted Jimmy up over his head like he didn't weigh a thing. Jimmy screamed. Just once, before he broke Jimmy's back. I heard it snap, not far away. Then I started running till I found this house. They let me use the phone.
Thank you, miss. We'll see that you get home right now. O'Malley, see that the young lady gets home all right.
Paul Lowe, while driving to his office, heard a radio commentator report the murder of Joe Marcelli. And what shocked him most was when the broadcast identified the killer as possibly being the Butcher. Lowe headed straight for Eva Martin at the Burlesque Theater.
Oh, you gave me a start, Mr. Lowe.
What are you doing here? Where's Eva?
Oh, I'm taking her place. I'm going to wear her costumes. What's it to you?
I asked you, where's Eva?
Hey, don't get physical. Well, watch your tone of voice, Buster. I told you. Little Eva isn't here.
I could see that for myself. Where is she?
She's at police headquarters. That's where she is.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Captain Lauder's still with the mayor. The killer dropped out of sight. He was last seen in the Hollywood area. Yes, sir. We know he's dangerous. Every angle's being covered. Yes, sir. I'll tell him.
Here, see how these fit.
Low heels.
I'm sorry. It's the best our wardrobe department can afford. Any idea how soon the captain will be back?
Now, look, I'm going to see the captain if I have to wait here all night.
Paul. Paul, Charles killed Squeamy and Joe.
Joe, too? Benton?
He's alive. I saw him, but nobody will believe me.
I'm checking it. My guess is whoever killed them is on the trail of the money, Lowe. Now, maybe you better start talking if you know anything about it.
I don't know anything.
Did the Butcher have a brother?
No brother.
It was Charles. I saw the tattoo on his arm.
Look, I demand police protection.
Where's the money, Lowe?
You heard me. I demand protection. I know my rights.
We put stakeouts on your office and home.
Well, that's not enough.
It's enough as far as we're concerned.
Now you gonna book me, Sergeant?
Then throw away the key.
Thank you.
Come up with anything yet, Dick?
Oh, we've checked every hotel, motel, and rooming house in town. We've run a cross-check on every hangout Butcher ever used. Net results, blank.
This is incredible. We not only discover a dead man turned killer, but it's beginning to look like he plays ghost, too. He's somewhere in this city, and if we have to take it apart brick by brick, we've got to get him.
I may be way off, but I think Paul Lowe could tell us a lot.
Maybe. But it's a cinch he's not going to.
Well, suppose he had no alternative.
You better grab some coffee. Your mind's beginning to play tricks on you.
No, now, wait a minute. When Lowe came to us for police protection, it was because he was scared stiff the Butcher would add him to the list of Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli.
Go on.
It figures, too. When he slugged the sergeant, he knew we'd book him right away. Oh, this Lowe's a pretty cute character. But we can play the same game.
You mean we'll threaten to release him?
Well, not exactly. You tell him you realize that he was excited, that throwing the punch was accidental. Tell him we're not going to make a charge, that he's completely released.
Lieutenant, you know we can't do that. Lowell made his first mistake when he hit the sergeant, and that'll get him a year. As far as the department's concerned, at least it's a small victory.
If my hunch is right, Lowe won't want to be on the streets with the Butcher looking for him. And he may talk, and talk a lot. Enough maybe for us to get rid of him permanently. Even lead us to the Butcher.
If he's frightened enough, that might work. But if it doesn't... No, Dick, I'm not going to release him. I want him out of my way so bad I can taste it, but not bad enough to be responsible for getting him killed.
The good thing about that, Captain, is the fact we know it, but Lowe doesn't.
Let's give it a try.
Wait, did that first cop even shoot Butcher? Oh, come on. I know this is a low-budget movie, but even teenagers from outer space made some attempt at making non-existent gunshots look convincing. But here, it just looks like they're standing in each other's faces all awkwardly. Okay, that's more like it, movie.
You're a slacker.
Also, what is this lady doing here? Maybe she actually was drunk. Anyway, now that the Butcher has bumped off Squeamy and Marcelli, Paul Lowe is next on his list. I have to wonder why they made the decision to give Chaney next to no dialogue. I suppose having him be a silent killer is scarier. Certainly his face is scary enough. I'm sorry, that was mean. So with Benton tossing people around like rag dolls and committing minor vandalism in law offices, the police are scrambling to track him down and put an end to his reign of terror. Meanwhile, the shyster Lowe gets himself arrested so he can get off the street and away from Benton. Will the unstoppable Butcher catch up with him and get his revenge? Or will our tenacious Dick put him away for a second time? Will Eva go on another date to the drive-in burger joint? Find out in the electrifying conclusion to Indestructible Man, right after this.
All right, Lowe. Come on out.
I think you'll find everything in there. You're free to go, Mr. Lowell.
Wait a minute. Who do you think you're kidding? You arrested me for assaulting an officer. Court, I'll plead guilty. With luck, I might get off with 6 months.
For a lawyer, you're forgetting a very important point. If no charge is made, there's no trial. It was a tough day for everyone. We figured your nerves were on edge, and when you threw the punch, you didn't know what you were doing. I've squared everything with the sergeant. It's all over, all forgotten.
Yeah? Why'd you bring a stenographer?
Simply because I wanted a record of our conversation at the time of your release. Okay, Lowell, let's go.
Oh, wait a minute. Once out on those streets and I'm a dead man. You let me go, you'll be responsible for murder.
Oh, come off it, Lowe. You're imagining things.
You know the Butcher threatened to kill me. You set me free, he'll do it.
Well, that's just a risk we'll have to take. But the way I look at it, Mr. Lowell, you'll be okay.
Look, Captain, I'll make a deal with you. You keep me here and I'll tell you how to recover the money. Maybe even catch the Butcher.
No deals, Lowell. You'd probably tell us anything just to stall for time. Come on, let's get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. All right. I'll tell you the truth. Start taking this down. I, Paul Lowe, hired Butcher Benton, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Maselli to pull off the armored car holdup.
And then Lowe continued with his confession. He told us about finding the map. He showed us the exact location of where the butcher had hidden the stolen payroll. And he gave us a most important answer. The explanation as to how the butcher was able to elude detection. His means of escape was the sewer system beneath our city. The department went to work fast. Every police squad in the city was detailed to cover a specific area. Every entrance and exit to the Los Angeles city sewer system of 700 miles was covered. Captain Lauder and I, along with several other squads, headed for the entrance where, according to the map, Butcher had hidden the money. Our job was to stop him, and that made me think of one specific question. When we found him, could this monster be stopped? I, for one, wasn't sure.
Everything all set, Lieutenant?
City engineers mapped out each possible exit. A squad of officers are spotted at every point. If the butcher can be caught, now's the time.
Well, after I talked to Caltech, I called on the fire department for a little help. The professors thought a flamethrower might stop him.
Flamethrower?
I suppose their boys have had a chance to join our squads by now. I see we have one with us here.
Have you thought about what'll happen if this doesn't work?
No. I've been praying too hard that it will work. This is where we split up. I'll go straight ahead.
this map's right, we're off our course. We'll have to backtrack.
Let him have it.
tremendous shock of electricity that brought the butcher back to life, destroyed him. The $600,000 stolen in the armored truck robbery has been recovered. Case closed. Well, here are the scientist's comments for your records. I had to fill in a few spots with my own guesses, but I guess that's about the size of it.
Did you get any sleep?
Oh, some. Not much.
How's the girl today?
Well, I called the hospital about an hour ago. She'd gone.
Gone? Where?
Well, she told him she was a working girl and that she'd been away from the job too long already.
Quite a girl.
Yeah. Say, how about that time off I've got coming?
48 hours, beginning right now. Get some rest, Dick.
You know something, Dick? The past 72 hours seem like a bad dream. That rest in the hospital today really gave me a new lease on life. Now that it's over, I can't believe it actually happened.
The important thing is to remember, it is all over.
I suppose you'll be assigned to another case. I'll have to give up hamburgers in the front seat of the car for steaks in a restaurant.
No. I've thought about that. In fact, I decided to do something about it. I started by talking the captain into a short holiday, and just about an hour ago, I got you fired.
What? What did you do that for?
I figured that being my wife would take up all of your time.
Even if I wanted to say no, I couldn't. You're not supposed to say no to a detective.
I figured that, too.
You're not supposed to say no to a detective. I figured that too. And so ends Indestructible Man. They moved awfully fast, didn't they? He proposed on their second date? And even worse, he did what?
Just about an hour ago, I got you fired.
Run, Eva. Run as fast as you can and don't look back. So anyway, I admit that was a bit of a tough one. It's definitely one of those B movies that overpromises but underdelivers. Apparently, the script originally called for a much more exciting ending where Benton finds out that Lowe is in the county jail. The butcher then smashes his way into the cell block and kills Lowe, then takes Eva captive, because why not? Gotta have a damsel in distress, right? Having learned the location of Benton's hideout in the sewers from Lowe's confession, Chasen sets up an ambush there for him, rescues Eva, and finds the $600,000. Fun fact, that last photo was not taken on a set, but in the cave at, you guessed it, Bronson Canyon. Chasen then lures the weakened Benton to a power plant and intentionally throws the switch and fries him to a crisp, rather than having this happen by accident. So why didn't they film this ending, you ask? Ran out of money, of course. Isn't that how it always goes? Indestructible Man was released on March 25th, 1956. It was released as part of a double feature with the film World Without End, and in some regions, with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Its theatrical run just kind of came and went, but it eventually found its audience on TV in later years when it played on weekend afternoons. Director Jack Pollocksven produced several low-budget films prior to Indestructible Man, with his partner Audrey Weisberg through Weisberg's company. They made film reimaginings of many classic novels, such as The Lady in the Iron Mask, The Son of Dr. Jekyll, and Return to Treasure Island, and they also produced original films that garnered some attention, such as The Man from Planet X and Captive Women. Perhaps we'll talk more about those another time. After Indestructible Man, Pollocksven and Weisberg continued making many other films in several genres. Meanwhile, writers Vi Russell and Sue Dwiggins wrote one other script for Pollocksven, the 1963 sci-fi horror flick Monstrosity, which was retitled The Atomic Brain for TV distribution. And we'll definitely talk more about that one another time. But that's all for this episode of B-Film Invasion. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. And of course, if there's a B movie you think I should check out, post the title in the comments. Until next time, this is Kelton, signing off. Thanks for watching.